There is a conference taking place on April 24th, and you're all invited. Here are the details. We bring on to our couch and our sofa this morning Mayola Vivas, and who is assistant pastor, is that correct?
Yeah.
For One Love Ministries.
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. I love being here.
No, I love to talk story, and you know, you guys are having a big event coming up.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about what it is and what people can expect.
Yeah, so we're gonna have an internationally renowned speaker and author. His name's Abdu Murray, former Muslim. And his journey to faith in Christianity, it took him about a 9-year journey, but in his investigation of Christianity, who's Jesus? Who's the Father? Is the Bible reliable? All that stuff. It led him to this place where he understood that Christianity is not only reliable, but it's awesome. It's life-changing. And so he's coming to share a little bit of his story and serve people and love people that way.
I think that's awesome, and because I was just having a conversation with my mom, the similarities that you can see within different faiths, but how they really can complement each other at the same time. And I think Buddhism and the Muslim faith, there's so many details that they're focused on that, to me, I think that's a beautiful thing that in Christianity we can also learn from. But with this event is called Dangerous and Delusional. Why that name, and what is that representing?
Right, so as a tagline, it's meant to draw people in, but more accurately, this is actually Abdu's own desire, and this was his understanding of Christianity before he came to it. He thought that it was dangerous and that it was delusional, and so he's sharing this part of himself with us. And what we understand and what he understood in his investigation was that Christianity is not immune to misunderstanding and misconception, right? In the world that we live in, everybody gets caricatured and misrepresented. Well, Christianity is no different. People take things out of context in the Bible, and they suggest that it's hateful and discriminatory and sexist and all those things, but when you dig deep, you find it's not true, and I think that's what he's coming to share a lot of.
Who is Abdu? Murray is his last name?
Abdu Murray, yeah. Abdu Murray, he's an awesome guy. So he's of Lebanese descent and, again, former devout Muslim who used to be a critic and a skeptic of Christianity. And now he's devoted his life to answering the really tough and deep questions that people have about Christ, who he is. And what I love about what he does, it's not just that he gives good answers, but the man who's answering it, his experience, his understanding, his education, and his love for people is awesome. Even if people come with kind of a hostility with their questions, he always answers with a love, gentleness, and respect. And so it carries weight when he gives an answer to it.
What did you learn? What have you learned from him so far? Just as a little teaser for our viewers who may be an audience member.
Sure, yeah.
What is so interesting about his story that has connected with you?
Yeah, so I've got to hear him talk a little while ago, and what was interesting for me was the boldness that he speaks with, but the gentleness he carries at the same time. You can tell he's a man of authority. He knows what he's talking about, but he also has such a deep love for people. And just the journey from what he used to believe to what he does now, such a humble thing to say, hey, I was wrong, and now I've found the truth. That humility for me is something we don't see a lot of today, and so that really resonated with me.
That is super interesting, and I'm just assuming, as I'm interested, others may be. So who is this event open to, and what are some information that they need to know to be able to sign up?
Yeah, so the event is open to everyone, anybody who has questions, who wants understanding, who really wants to seek answers, and we want to create a safe place for people who have genuine questions, to ask a human being and not just go online, but to ask somebody who's living it, what is all of this? And whatever the questions are, he's willing to answer. So, you know, we always say there's no dumb questions. If it's a genuine wrestling of your heart, come and ask. And so this is the kind of stuff that people can come and ask. So it's open to everybody. And if they would like to come, it'll be on the 24th. It's a Wednesday night, 6 to 8 o'clock in the evening at One Love Ministries. If they want more information, onelove.org/Abdu Murray, they can check it out there.
And just to confirm, you don't have to necessarily be a Christian, but this could be something that if you're interested, you could learn a little bit more about it.
Yeah, no, not at all. We're not requiring that anybody have any type of faith to come in, but again, anybody who has questions, who wants to learn, who wants to grow, who even is just curious, come on out. We'd love to have you. We'd love to welcome you and just aloha you in our place.
Awesome. Love those safe spaces. Thank you. I appreciate it. Again, One Love Ministries, they're going to have their event